quarter has been and what's the visibility going forward?
Yeah, no worries. And no, we've been very happy with the performance as we look at not only the quarter, but the build up to that over the last several months, in fact, over the full year. If you look at growth from last year to this year on a quarterly basis, EBITDAs are up 8%, revenues are up 14%. If you look at growth on a full year basis, our revenues are up 20%, EBITDAs up 29%, and profit after tax up at about 47%. And we close the year with a very healthy EBITDA margin of 26%. So on an overall basis, we're very happy with how things are going. This is in line with our stated strategy of making sure we focus on quality, driving growth through volume. So if you look at our volume growth across the year, up about 14%, quarterly up about 9%. So we've really been focused on making sure we do all the things that we've been saying all along, which is focus on high quality care, drive patients' footfalls, across the network. Our new units in Lucknow and Patna also doing very well. Patna, which is just 2 years in, also performing very well from a financial point of view as well. And we've also added in services, adding over 125 beds over the year. We've added over 150 doctors, senior doctors this year. So all in all, just really executing very well on what we feel was our originally stated strategy. And that actually will continue out over the course of the coming months. We've already opened up some more beds in the first part of this quarter in our Gurgaon facility, started a new mother and child ward here. We're adding in beds in Lucknow and Patna as well. And we continue to invest heavily in hiring very exceptionally talented clinicians across the group. So in all things track, our Noida facility, which is supposed to open towards the end of this year, is also on track, and that should bring on an additional 550 beds by the time that hospital is fully operational. So everything moving as per plan. We do see seasonality in this industry quarter on quarter, but frankly speaking, that's not how we run the business. We look at it at a slightly longer period of time. And on that horizon, we think everything is firing as it needs to.
Trehan, as well as Mr. Sahni, very good morning. This is Vinny joining in the conversation as well. You did talk about a bit on seasonality. Dr. Trehan, I want to put that point forward to you. We have seen increase in terms of heat waves that are there. A lot of problems that are coming in terms of, for the stomach issues that are popping in. And that seasonality play, then do you think that footfalls is something that would increase in Q1? We do have the rainy season that will be starting.
Well, we are not hoping that people will get sick. We only want to see our people coming to us when they have gotten sick for whatever reason. It's not a good feeling to say that, oh, now the season is such that people will get sick. We don't operate like that. We are actually, if you look at it, 5 years in a row, we have been named by Newsweek International poll, which is done in 28 countries, private hospital in India. Not only that, it has been named amongst the first 200 hospitals of the world. We are the only a private hospital that has been named in the first 200 hospitals of the world. So what it does is it endorses principles. Our principles are that we want to give the highest end of care possible anywhere in the world to our people across all our facilities, what we call Medanta model of care. The model actually not only is the highest level of care that we can give or knowledge that's available, but also with compassion and make it as affordable as possible. So these are the 3 principles on which we ride. And the people, our patients, have actually come to us in larger and larger numbers because of this very fact that they feel the satisfaction, they feel the quality of care they got. And in fact, we do some of the most difficult procedures in the world because people who, like we say, for cardiac surgery, we will operate on the inoperable because 90% able to find solutions for them rather than saying that nothing can be done and you're left to your fate. That is why, if you see, we developed robotic liver transplants. So this is a huge relief to patients. That we are the ones who actually did robotic transplants. And if you look at it today in the frontier technologies, we are on the cutting edge on everything. If you look at, say, cardiology, we are the center for structural heart. That means replacing valves with a wire, with doing the most complex of procedures. So there is a sort of a methodology to our success. We create the strongest vehicle on which to deliver this care. And since our faculty or our doctors are all full-time, it only enables them to grow on a daily basis. So we live by the dictum: if you're not better today than yesterday, then you wasted 24 hours. And that's what we want to give to our patients. We have now done the new process of predictive precision personalized medicine. We are way along. We are using AI. So there are many things
Right.
that Medanta is the leader, and we will make sure that we stay that way.
Sure. Pankaj, let me come to you because, Lucknow seems to be a little bit of a concern in terms of the volume weakness, the high competitive intensity. All of that seems to have affected, the overall business in Lucknow. How and when do you see that stabilizing?
No, I think the premise is a little false. There has actually been no real change in any of the competitive intensity. In fact, no capacity addition at all in the city. All that's happened is one brand is replacing by another brand, but no real activity on that front. What we do see, however, in some of these other cities, as I mentioned earlier, like Lucknow and Patna, they follow slightly different trends on a quarterly volume basis than, say, some of the other cities like maybe a Delhi or a Bombay. So we had a very high patient base of dengue and some of the seasonal diseases in both Q2 as well as Q3. And so unlike many of the other more mature towns, Q4 tends to perform slightly differently in some of these cities. Yes, we are focused in on ensuring that we drive volume growth across all of our networks, including in Lucknow and including in Patna. But we don't see any big challenges at all. We have not seen any significant reasons to be worried about this. We see good performance in all of our units, including our Lucknow facility, and really no real difference visible to us in terms of what's happening in the market out there. And it's also important to point out that when you look at the region like Lucknow and you look at even the state of UP or the state of Bihar, there is such a huge population that is underserved there. In fact, it's ironic, in fact, that very early on when we moved into these places, there was a lot of questions around why are you going to these cities? And now we see that everybody realizes that there's such a huge need there and people are following us in. So I guess in some ways you could say, imitation is the best form of flattery. So we remain confident on this unit as well as our Patna unit, which is also doing exceptionally well. And also, let's not forget that our mature facility in Gurgaon, which is almost now 14, 15 years old, delivering revenue growth of upwards of 15% and volume growth largely driving that of upwards of 10%. So a lot of momentum in the system, and I think structurally as well as over the immediate and long term, very happy with where things are positioned.
Right. Just the last quick question is in terms of margins. Mature hospital margins, they have seen an expansion, while developing hospitals margins have seen a bit of a contraction. So overall margin trajectory, where do we see them headed?
Well, we don't do a lot of guidance or we don't provide any real guidance. What I can share with you as you think about some of our developing hospitals is both in terms of Lucknow as well as Patna. There's a lot of investment still going into those hospitals. So as I mentioned, just in the last quarter, we've added almost 100 beds in Lucknow. We're adding additional 50 beds in Lucknow this quarter. We're adding almost 100 beds in Patna in this quarter, and we've added beds earlier as well. And we continue to invest very heavily in getting clinical talent in. So I think that when you look at the profile across these networks, it's still some way for this to be called a kind of a truly stable situation. That being said, I think the margin performance in both Lucknow and Patna is still, in fact, exceptionally high in absolute terms, very, very healthy margins being delivered across both of these units. So we are not really worried. Our focus is not to look at what happens on one quarter or the other, but really to ensure that we are investing in building out the capabilities to be able to serve these communities over the long run. And we're fairly confident that over the course of the year that we look at, or even longer in many cases, both the operational, the quality, as well as the financial performance will be very, very strong. And we hope that, it'll only grow from strength to strength from here.
Right. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining in with us this morning on ET Now. Dr. Trehan, as well as Mr. Sahni, for joining in with us.
Thank you for
Thank you.
Giving us your insights as well in terms of the outlook of the company. But with that, we're absolutely out of time on this edition of
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.